Cats. Today we're going to be writing equations to match real-world situations. This is two-step equations. Please make sure that you follow the instructions to glue it on the correct page in your notebook. To get started, we're going to look at number 1, and I advise that you have some highlighters, something to write with. So that way, as we're reading, you can find the keywords so that it's helpful when we're trying to figure out what is the variable, what will our equation be, and then we're going to find the solution to each problem. So looking at this first one, it says Michael is saving to buy a scooter that cost $125. He already saved $80 and plans to save an additional $5 each week. In how many weeks will Michael have enough money to buy the scooter? Looking at this question, there are some keywords that tell us what operation and what numbers are important. Looking at this, I know that the scooter costs $125. That's the total. Knowing that Michael has already saved $80, that's what I'm going to start with. And he plans to save an additional $5 each week. Additional tells me I'm going to add. Each is a keyword to multiply. Remember these things. In how many weeks will Michael have enough money to buy the scooter? We're looking at how many weeks. How many weeks is going to be what I'm solving for. So I'm going to use my variable to be W. W will equal the number of weeks. When setting up our equation to solve for how many weeks, we already talked about that Michael had saved $80. He needs an additional $5 each week. To show that it's 5 each week, I'm going to say 5 times W. We're hoping that this amount of money is going to give us the total of $125 for the scooter. Now that we've set up our equation, we need to solve. This is a two-step equation, and we remember that the steps are to subtract or add first. So we're going to subtract 80 from each side of the equal sign. Remember to draw that wall. Now that I've canceled that out, I have 5W equals 45. I still want to get the W by itself, so I'm going to have to divide 5 from both sides to cancel. And now I'm left with W equals 9. I have to make sure that I'm answering the question. The question is, in how many weeks will Michael have enough money to buy the scooter? The solution is, it will be 9 weeks. Remember, you can pause this video and make sure that you write everything down. Moving on to question number 2, the temperature is 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It is expected to rise at a rate of 4 degrees each hour for the next several hours. In how many hours will the temperature be at 32 degrees Fahrenheit? When doing problems like this, always check that last sentence to tell you what we're looking for. The last sentence says, in how many hours will the temperature be at 32 degrees Fahrenheit? I'm solving for hours, so that's what I'm going to use as my variable. H equals the number of hours. In order to solve the number of hours, we're going to have to set up an equation. Let's look at what information is important. I know that currently the temperature is 20 degrees. It's expected to rise. Rise tells me that it's going to go up at a rate of 4 degrees each hour. For the next several hours isn't clear at how many, so that's what I'm going to use my variable for. I want it to equal 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's set up our equation. Currently it is 20 degrees. It's going to go up. We're going to add 4 degrees each hour. Each is going to tell me 4 times H. We want to know when will it be at or equal to 32 degrees. Now that I've set up my equation, let's solve. First, want to get rid of the 20, so I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides of the equal sign. That leaves me with 4H equals 32 minus 20 is 12. I still want to get H by itself, so I'm going to have to divide each side by 4. That cancels, and now I have H equals 3. I have to make sure I'm answering the question. In how many hours? The answer is 3 hours. Again, make sure that if I write it, you write it. Taking a look at number 3, it says a furniture store requires a down payment of $100. I know that's not a term we normally use, down payment, but it just means that they gave them $100 in good faith before they finished paying off the rest of the table. So they gave a down payment of $100 and then charges $75 per month for a table. Marcia paid $550 when she rented the table. How many months did she rent the table? Looking at this, I'm trying to figure out how many months did she rent the table. This is going to help me with my variable. I'm going to say M equals the number of months. Now remember, Martha started by giving a down payment of $100. She gave them $100 and they charged $75 per month. Per tells me I'm going to multiply. So I'm saying $75 times each month. The total Marcia paid was $550. So I'm going to say equal to $550. Now that I've set up my equation, I need to make sure I'm looking for the solution. I'm going to draw a line underneath my equal sign. I'm going to start by subtracting 100 from the left, subtract 100 from the right. Now I'm left with 75M equals 450. I still want to get M by itself, so I need to divide each side by 75. 75 goes into 450 6 times. Looking at this, the question is, how many months did she rent the table? Well, if M equals 6, my answer is 6 months. Here we go. On to number 4. Number 4, a taxi service charges $1.50 plus 60 cents per minute for a ride to the airport. The distance to the airport is 10 miles, and the total charge is $13.50. How many minutes did the ride to the airport take? What I like about number 4 is it's a great example of how they give us too much information. Some of this is not helpful. So let's make sure we're highlighting what we need. A taxi service is going to charge you $1.50 plus 60 cents per minute. Do I need to know that the airport is 10 miles away? No. But I do need to know that the total charge is $13.50. We're trying to solve for how many minutes did the ride to the airport take. Knowing this, my variable is going to be M for the number of minutes. Again, we don't need to know the number of miles. That is extra information that they're going to try to use to trick us. I know as soon as they get in the taxi, it's $1.50. Plus tells me I'm going to add 60 cents per minute. Tells me I'm going to say 60 cents times M. My total cost of the taxi ride was $13.50. Now I need to solve. Make sure you draw a line under the equal sign, and what I do to the left, I have to do to the right. Subtracting 150 from the left, I subtract 150 from the right. We're working with decimals, so be sure to line those up. I'm going to bring down my 60M equals $12. I still want to get M by itself. Make sure you're dividing by 60.60. Do it on the left, we do it on the right. And my total M equals 20. Doing this math, I know I'm trying to solve how many minutes, and the answer is 20 minutes. Moving on to number 5, Carlos is building a screen door. The height of the door is 1 foot more than twice its width. What is the width of the door if it is 7 feet high? This is a really tricky one, okay? And especially with the wording, you have to be careful that you know what your information is. Looking at this question, the height of the door is 1 foot more. Is actually is going to be used to mean equal. then twice the width. Remember, twice means that I say times 2. I'm trying to figure out what is the width of the door if it's 7 feet high. Knowing this, I'm going to have my variable W equal the width. And you can write width of the door. When I'm starting my equation, this is pretty tough because we're trying to figure out how wide is the door if it is 7 feet high. 7 is my total. 7 equals, I want to say twice the width, so 2 times the width, and it's 1 foot more than. Remember, more than tells this 1 foot to go to the end. So twice the width, and it's 1 more foot than that. Again, we're going to have to solve. I'm going to subtract 1 from each side. I'm left with 6 equals 2W. I'm going to divide each side by 2. And I'm left with W equals 3. Now, W equals 3 does not tell me the answer. I need to know what is the width, and we know that the width is 3 feet. Awesome. On to the last one. Number 6, a rectangle has a width of 6 inches and a perimeter of 26 inches. What is the length of the rectangle? Be sure to read the clue here. Remember, perimeter is the sum of all the sides around the rectangle. Sum tells me I have to add. Looking at the information that we know, the width is 6 inches, perimeter is 26 inches. What I don't know is the length. I'm going to use a cursive L to equal length. In order to get perimeter, if I think about it, I have 2 lengths plus 2 widths. That's going to equal my perimeter. Looking at this problem, I know that my perimeter is 26. That's the total. I do know that I have 2 lengths. Even though I don't know what my length is, I know I have 2 of them, plus 2 times my width, which is 6. Looking at this problem now, I can simplify. I have 26 equals 2L plus 2 times 6 is 12. Now we've simplified it so that we can continue to solve. Draw a line from your equal sign. I'm going to subtract 12 from each side, leaving me with 2L equals 14. Now that I want to get L by itself, I'm going to divide each side by 2, canceling it out, and L equals 7. Again, make sure you're telling yourself, what is it? What is the length of the rectangle? The length equals 7 feet. Oh, inches. Make sure you're looking at the right unit. Great job. Make sure you follow on to the next page to do the practice problems.